I'm Dustin, Prince of Aphotic Realm, and this is Bo, my indie author friend.
Fabulous powers will be revealed to you the day we hold aloft our mics and say,
I have the Geekdom!
Geek-Men and the Masters of the ThunderNerds.
ThunderNerds! Ho! Welcome to another episode of Masters of the ThunderNerds. I'm Dustin.
I am Bo.
And this is the podcast where we talk about all the things you love.
Without all the hate.
Alright, this is a special part 2. Last week we were talking with Kai Kiriyama about Zelda, and we are going to join that recording, jump right in, asking her questions. Stick around after that interview. We have a special Joe's Kick of the Week.
Very special.
Very, very special. We have comic creator, writer Mark Darden of Guano Guy. So you're going to want to stick around and check that out. Hear what he has to say. So, sit back and relax and enjoy.
Geek-Men!
Well, I got a question.
Okay.
Before we get into the... We can go real quick before we move into the final segment, which I'm very excited about. But you mentioned that trailer, which I'm glad you've seen, the one where Link for Breath of the Wild, where he's shooting there and everything, the big reveal trailer. When that first came out, there was that people thought that maybe, just maybe, that Link was a girl. I don't know if you remember that whole talk about that.
I do.
That maybe, and then maybe you might get to be able to pick your gender at the beginning of that game, which turned out, to be false. But they said, hey, we might consider that for future games. Do you think that's something that could actually happen in another Zelda game, or do you think Nintendo's so stuck on their traditions that they might not ever get to it?
Well, see, that's a hard question, because one of my... So the Zelda game that I've put the most hours into is Hyrule Warriors.
Okay.
Which is it's Koei Tecmo and Omega Force doing, like, there's a game series called Samurai Warriors, and there's another one called Dynasty Warriors. And what it is a fighting game. It's a mission-based fighting RPG, I guess, is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Where you control an army and you go through, or you control a character and there's, like, an army with you, and you go through and you, like, fight your enemies and you have to, like, complete missions. And it's, for the Samurai and Dynasty Warriors, it's like a retelling. It's based on the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. And they're fantastic games. Generally speaking, these games are fantastic. So Koei Tecmo teamed up with Nintendo to do a crossover called Hyrule Warriors. So it's the same concept, but with Zelda characters. And so my favorite character in the entire world is Ganon, and like in the Zelda world is Ganon. I think he's a fantastic villain, and I'm not sure at this point if it's because I actually think he's a fantastic villain, or if it's just because of all the headcanon that came from putting like 300 hours into Hyrule Warriors, playing with my sister, and just like making up all of like these stories and stuff in our heads, and just like sitting there and playing and like talking and being ridiculous like we're doing now. So in Hyrule Warriors, in the expansion pack, and when it came out on the 3DS, and I think they put it on the main one as well on the Wii U, they introduced, at least on the 3DS version, because like I said, I've only got my 3DS nowadays, and I have access to a PlayStation. But so on the 3DS, there is a female character named Linkle. She is a playable character, and her story is that her grandmother always told her that she was the reincarnation of the hero of time. And it's played off as a joke. Like, when you're first introduced to her, the villagers where she lives are like, oh, everybody's grandmother tells you that you're the hero of time and that you're going to get called. And it's just a folk story. But she believed it so hard that when there was, like, in the story, when the monsters start attacking the kingdom of Hyrule within the world of Hyrule Warriors, when all of this stuff happens, she believes it so hard that she puts on her green little tunic dress and she fights with, like, a crossbow that basically gets a machine gun upgrade.
Nice.
And she has, like, and then she has these, like, boots. She has, you know, in Ocarina of Time, the winged boots that you get for the Shadow Temple,
Mm-hmm.
she has those. So she
Yeah,
can, like, she kicks people in the face, and she can, like, float around and kick people. It's really cool game mechanics. But so when this happens, she believes so hard that this is her calling that she runs off to go and become the hero that she's supposed to be. Then it's further played off as laughs because she goes, like, the wrong way, because she's kind of like the ditzy blonde character, like, archetype. But that was, I'm not sure if that was Koei Tecmo just doing the thing that Koei Tecmo does, or if, like, and doing, like, the fan service kind of thing, or if it was, like, meant to be, like, a placation of there's not enough female characters and why can't Link be a girl? So, to answer the question, I don't know if Nintendo will ever allow that kind of, like, gender swap sort of aspect in a canon game.
Mm.
Because the way they set up the story was, like, in Skyward Sword. They set up Skyward Sword on the 25th anniversary to be, like, the origin story for Zelda and Link and Ganon, and why they keep reliving these same sort of, like, they keep reprising their roles over and over and over. Ganon is always, like, the source of all evil, and he's going to destroy the world, and Zelda is always the princess. Or, in Skyward Sword, she was not a princess, but she was, like, close enough to a princess.
Yeah.
And then Link is always the hero who has to, like, and they are the three aspects of the Triforce. And so, because of the way that they set up the story, in that one, Ganondorf, Ganon wasn't called Ganon, he was called Demise in that one, and he cursed the Link and Zelda's bloodline, that they would always come back and they would always be forced to deal with him. He would always come back until whatever, he got his way or whatever, you know? So he like basically cursed them to be reincarnated into this same story over and over and over, which is why I don't know. I feel like Nintendo's never going to change anything. They're never going to, like, fully make you, like, I don't feel like they're going to switch that just because of the way they've set up their canon.
Well, it doesn't sound like they even need to if they created another character, if that character's canon, right?
But she's not canon. Linkle is not canon because
I gotcha.
Hyrule Warriors wasn't it wasn't a canon game because they basically they open a portal to bring characters from every single world in, except for, you know, Spirit Tracks. Which is one of those games that doesn't get enough love. They put Tingle into this fighting game, and he looks insane, and it's terrible, and I don't like him, and he haunts my nightmares, but they didn't bring in, you know, the guys from Spirit Tracks or Phantom Hourglass.
Yeah, Dustin, you should totally
totally
not Google because we don't know what that is, but somehow
you guys know what that is. Canadians don't know what Google is. You should Bing that.
Oh man,
Bing. Bing.
Andrew Garfield, that thing. Let's do it.
Andrew Garfield.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would love to see, like, a more customizable character builder.
Let me ask you this: if you get add in the customizable character, don't you basically just have Skyrim?
Well, here's the thing about Link. They argue that because Link has no lines, you know, he has, you know, all you get is the audible, like, hits and screams and things like that. He never has any lines of dialogue, and they've always argued that it's for you to project yourself onto him. And in most of the games, except for the last one, you've been able to name Link whatever you want to. Yeah. So
no, they also always said that they wanted him to look more androgynous so that you could be Link. But the problem with that, in my opinion, is that they identify Link, everybody else identifies Link as he, and there is implied romance with, in Ocarina of Time, it's Saria and Zelda and Malon and Ruto, and it's very much implied that he is a he, regardless of the androgyny. And, like, for what it's worth, I could see that being a problem of its time. Like, we didn't have the common vernacular. Like, the language existed, but we didn't have the common vernacular to describe somebody as either gender fluid or non-conforming or whatever you want to identify that as.
Yeah, good point.
So like identifying Link as a he in the game. So it's kind of like, it's that double-edged sort of sword. It's like, yeah, we always wanted Link to be specifically androgynous so that you didn't feel like, so that you could see yourself in Link's shoes, but then they always referred to him as a gendered pronoun. They always referred to Link as a him. Even in the newer games, they refer to Link as a him.
Yeah.
And so I'm not sure that it's probably intentional for ease of game development and for ease of writing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's fun. I think they've naturally established that him as a character without having to establish him as a character. Like, they've unintentionally done it. So, like, when they make small changes, it's a drastic change. Like, with Breath of the Wild, for example, you change his colors to mainly blue. Everybody's like, whoa!
Well, no. See, but don't you get green clothes in there later on? Don't you get the hero's tunic? Because that was kind of that was his thing. That was Link, the hero of time, always wore green. And they addressed that even right in Hyrule Warriors, in the non-canon game. Linkle, when you meet her, she's not wearing green. But when she puts on her clothes to, like, go on her adventuring thing, she puts on the hero's tunic, and it's like, it's always the hero's tunic,
Yeah, that's the thing.
The green one.
You get, they kind of had their cake and eat it too, and Nintendo with that, with the way they promote that.
Yeah. So I would love to see like being able to actually play Link as a girl. And there was a whole fan movement when Breath of the Wild came out, when they dress him up in the Gerudo.
Yes, because he had to cross-dress.
He wears the belly. Yeah, he had to cross-dress. So everyone's like, there was a huge fan movement where you can't tell me that Link is a dude. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, you wake up shirtless in your underpants. But it's it's like there's a whole fan movement that, well, maybe Link is trans, or maybe Link is gender fluid, or maybe Link is actually a girl and just presents as a male because it's easier in this society. And so there was all of this headcanon fandom creativity that came out of it that kind of illustrated the want for a character creation, for Link to be more openly not necessarily a boy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I would love to see the opportunity for a more extensive gameplay, like with the backstories and stuff. I would love to see that sort of, like, how it would change the relationship status of people. Like, if you're a girl and you go to Princess Ruto in the Zora domain, she's a fish. I know Dustin doesn't know what I'm talking about. She's one of the fish people from Ocarina of Time. And she's the princess of her whole tribe. And when you get the thing that you need to get from her, the Zora Sapphire thing, it's like a stone. She's like, this, I'm supposed to only give it to the person that I marry. And
yeah, that is right.
So how, like, if you had a more extensive, and so that falls into that trap that I was saying before, where it's like very much now you have this kind of like weird potential romance thing happening with this fish lady. But, like, if you were able to change your gender, how would that have affected that story? Like, would there have to have been, like, would it have become, for, in this example, would she have been, like, pansexual? Well, obviously pansexual because she's in love with a human now, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, would she then be open to marrying a female? Like, would she have still given you the stone, or would you have had to fight her to best her and take it because you're not playing as a male character? And how would that change this whole crazy backstory that they set up for in Skyward Sword? Like, Zelda became, in that story, her origin was that she was the goddess who gave up her divinity and became mortal so that she could use the Triforce to stop demise. So now, does that change? And again, very female coded as a goddess. So then does that change if Link is now a girl? Is Zelda still the princess, mother, goddess person?
Or
and then
does
if you
she become a prince?
Or does she become a dude? Exactly. That
or
was my next sentence.
Do you have to start doing, like, filling it out like a dating profile? Zelda, male, seeking female.
Seeking
male,
female
seeking
hero
male.
of time. Yeah. Like,
Do you have to...
do they just play it into the game? Like, it, and from a writing standpoint, I would love to write games one day. Like, it's kind of on my long-term, I want to build a portfolio so that I can get into the games industry. One day, maybe. We'll see. I shouldn't have said that because I haven't even talked about that in my writing business.
Well, I think you can put this on there.
You just did. Boom.
It's a long-term goal. Anyway.
No, yeah, totally.
But like, it's like it falls into those traps of then Telltale games, right?
Yeah, you really have to open up the branching.
Yeah, so now your choices are going to affect things, and how is that going to affect the overall story? And then is that something that Nintendo actually wants to open up, or is it just Link is going to always be a boy, Zelda's always going to be a girl? That's sort of the standard.
Because romance.
Yeah, it's.
If you want that whole hour-long conversation about the unrequited.
No, but that's. I'm glad I asked it. That's excellent answer. You brought up a lot of good points.
And it is quite a thing with video game programming or writing, especially. Like, you know, I did a bit of that in college. It's especially when you get into branching and like one of the video games I designed, you had to make decisions and based on the choices and based on the choices, it blows up. Like it, you know, if you have it truly based on all the different things that they can choose from and do, if you don't like wrap it back around and have some inevitability built in to where you're essentially leading them to one of two outcomes or one of however many outcomes you have ultimately, it can get out of hand if you're, thing.
Exactly. So I might as well tell you what I'm working on since I've blown my 2-year plan just in a throwaway line. So like, and I get that because I'm working on so my portfolio as a writer, I'm working on a choose your own adventure story.
Mm-hmm.
We got an exclusive.
Totally got an exclusive. Congratulations. I'm going to go announce it on Twitter in like 5 minutes.
No. So, I can't edit in 5 minutes.
No, but yeah, so like I'm working on these choose your own adventures because I don't have game programming, like that's something that I have to learn how to do.
Which I can probably help you with that.
That'd be cool. We'll talk about that after.
Yeah.
But like, because I want to build my portfolio as a writer. And I can't remember what studio was it that just had a big open casting call, but it was in Amsterdam and they wanted writers and all this other crazy stuff. They had, what game? There was a game studio that just had this big open, like you could pitch yourself. And if we like what you have, we'll consider a job.
Right.
We'll consider giving you a job. But you had to move to Amsterdam and ideally speak both English and Dutch. Well, my portfolio currently, I have books published, but they wouldn't, in my opinion, they don't really showcase how I would handle branching dialogues or branching story paths, which you kind of have to have when working in video games. Like I could do linear story, no problem, but having a branching path. So I decided, you know what? I write books. I'm going to do choose your own adventure books. And sitting here, I'm plotting them in notebooks. I have Twine, like I have the programs to actually do this, but I'm old school and I think better on paper a lot of the time. So I'm sitting here with this notebook color coding my choices. So it's like, all right, this. It's like orange is this choice and then this is the one conclusion and we'll just keep it in orange. And then it's like the other choice is like blue. And so we're like keeping all of these choices and then each one has like a branching because then each choice has two choices and it's insane.
Right.
And then, so applying that to game design, like, at what point can you just, like, be, like, oh my god, it boggles my, it's like looking at something like Dragon Age Inquisition, or any of the Dragon Age games. Inquisition was just the last one I played. So it's like, you have that character development, you have, like, you can be a dude, you can be a chick, you can be human, elf, what's the other thing with the horn, Kunari? Like, you can pick all of these different things, and then it changes the way certain people interact with you, and it opens up all of these crazy dialogue branches. But applying that to a Zelda game would fundamentally, like, how fundamentally are you going to change the experience of a Zelda game? And is that something that you want within a Zelda game? You know? Like, I play the Zelda games because it's familiar characters, Link and Zelda and Ganon, and there's certain aspects of the gameplay that are common all the way across. You know? You have to go, you have to do your temples, you have to do your fetch quests, you have to do whatever to get to the linear conclusion of you beat Ganon, or you beat whoever the bad guy is. And then there's gameplay mechanics that change depending on where you go. So, but, like, how much of that is super fundamental and built into the, like, mortar, the brick and mortar in the basement of Zelda, and how much of it can you change before you become, like you said, Skyrim?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Because
I
that's
don't
what
know.
Nintendo would do. They would oversimplify it, and then they run that risk of, insulting, certain demographics, or turning away their original audience, or their original, their hardcore fan base. So, good points.
But the thing about Nintendo that I think a lot of people forget, and they're like, oh, Nintendo is just not, AAA game designer anymore because, I just want to play 800 Halo clones or whatever. They forget that Nintendo is family friendly for the most part.
Yeah.
And that their core demographic is not Call of Duty players.
True.
So,
also,
which is,
well, I won't get into that, but never mind.
well, now I'm curious.
I forgot what podcast we were on.
I was just going to say their core demographic probably also isn't necessarily, like teenagers or adults, like trying to, navigate or interested in romantic, storylines. Or so,
well,
like,
no, exactly.
the subtle hints at a romantic flirting and things that they've had in, the different Zelda games have been enough for, younger audiences. Implied romance is one thing, but, full fleshed out, like, boyfriend, girlfriend, blah, 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 isn't necessarily something they need to spend their time on, because maybe they're not shooting for those age groups, even though, I just, I know people are, that are of that age that like those games. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't play.
Yeah.
I wouldn't play a Zelda game as a 32-year-old woman. I would not play a Zelda game as a fan, even. I mean, eventually I would play that aspect, but I wouldn't go into a Zelda game expecting to be able to romance anybody,
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't go in there expecting to, like, fall in love with a fish person or a bird person or Impa or whatever. It wouldn't be, like, something that I would look for in a game. It wouldn't be a major selling point. Even as a fan, I would, buy the game and I would play it, but that wouldn't be something that it's no longer a Zelda game.
Right. There are some games out there that you want to see more development. Like, I personally have been saying for years, I want character creation, like full-fledged character creation in a fighting game. Full on.
That'd be rad. That'd be cool.
Like Skyrim character creation meets fighting game, arcade fighting game.
There were those old PlayStation games that used to do it.
Yeah, like you could on Soul Calibur 3, you could design your characters, and that was like one of my favorite aspects of it. I designed like, because you had to use like one of the base characters, and then you could change everything about them, including their like their color, their skin tone. So like I took Maxie, who was one of my favorite in-game characters, who was a nunchuck wielding dude, and I made him look like Michelangelo. He didn't have like the turtle shell or anything, but I made him look like Michelangelo from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So it's like I did all that, but made Lion-O out of a sword dude. I made Panthro out of Maxi. I made, Donatello out of Keelik. I made all these characters, full-on character creation. And then with Soul Calibur 4, they took it away, and I've never seen a full-on character creation in a fighting game ever again. And I'm like, I want more of that.
They did that in Sonic Forces, too. Because as a player character, you are now joining forces with Sonic and Knuckles and all those dudes, and you're like in the resistance against Eggman. I was gonna say Ganon. I've got Zelda on the
Well,
we've
probably
been talking about Zelda for like the last hour and a half. No,
Good.
but like, so they did that in Sonic Forces, where you pick whatever, like, your base fighting stat, and then you choose your animal, and then you choose your colors and your eyes, and it becomes an absolute horror show because you can get really like Uncanny Valley on there. Like, Sonic was always pushing Uncanny Valley. I love Sonic too. We should do a Sonic episode. But
On down.
Oh man. But like, so you can put all of that character creation in there. But again, the character has no speaking lines really.
Yeah.
Because you're so different. It's all just, it's story based. You just need your avatar to play so that for the immersion, right?
Yeah.
So again, it's like, would a character development or a character creation in Zelda, would that build the immersion? Or would that ruin the immersion? Would that change the gameplay? Would you still be like...
Well,
that comes
down... I was just going to say that comes down to where you come back to conversation mechanics and gameplay. So where you have like 4 or 5 choices of the conversation mechanics, just like you do in like Skyrim or any other, RPG type game. Like, are you going to say, like, punch this dude in the face, say something that is like a racial slur, or are you going to say something useful or say something neutral? They have several different things to let you choose which way you want the conversation to go. Something agreeable, something, neutral that will let you like sort of fish for what you want to do, something mildly aggressive, and something completely standoffish that'll just flat out end the conversation. And they have those branching dialogue trees. So that's how you would have to do it. They don't have a voice actor for those things. They just have, are you male, female, or like the different races of the class. So they have a voice actor for the different male, female races of each class to do like, injured,
yeah.
The different, those types of things. But then it's just, you click a line and then that's the dialogue and then the line is delivered to you. That's how they would have to do it if they did that in a Zelda game.
Well, talk about that, like, circling back, it's something that I wanted to mention, but I forgot. Like, with Zelda, when you don't have to name yourself Link, that's just your default name. You can call yourself whatever you want. And Bo mentioned earlier the Game Grumps, they always give ridiculous names for the characters, like Butlet in Wind Waker.
Yeah.
Butlet. So the thing is, if you don't name yourself Link, it is so subtle that I don't think a lot of people notice it. If you don't name yourself Link, there are dialogues that change. In Ocarina of Time, when you first meet Zelda, if your name isn't Link, she says something like, that's a funny name. But if your name is Link, she says something else. I can't remember exactly what it is. But it's just like, you don't get that like, oh, that's a weird name. You get something different. It's more like, that sounds super familiar. And then in
like, doesn't she allude to something like about being the master of time or something, or whatever his title is?
The hero of time.
The hero of time, yeah.
I think she mentioned something about dreaming about him.
Yeah.
But it's a different dialogue, and it is so subtle that unless you've played it through more than once, you're not going to notice. When Skyward Sword came out, I named my character Link, and my boyfriend at the time was playing on a different file, and he didn't name himself Link. I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to be Link, and I'm going to play this. At the very beginning of the game, you're a dude, like one of your other students in your like stupid floating town, asks you to help move some kegs. And if you do it, and your name is Link, he gives you a red rupee. I think it's 20 rupees or something, or 50 rupees or something like that. If your name is not Link, you don't get the rupees. Go play it. Go try it. Like, it's one of those really super, there are very super duper subtle things that Nintendo has done, which then leads me to believe that they're not going to deviate from the whole Link is a dude, Zelda is a chick.
Yeah, they're trying
character creation thing. It's very subtle, and it's a very like, you're not playing by our rules. And a lot of people don't notice it. And I didn't notice it until I played the same, like until that happened. And then watching other playthroughs, it's like the subtleties are built into the dialogue without you, like, if you don't play it more than once, and if you don't retain every single little bit of information, you're not going to notice this sort of stuff. But it's there.
Yeah,
So,
they're rewarding you for playing by the
rules. Yeah.
Punishing, yeah, that's pretty good.
And it's so subtle that you're never going to notice it unless you've literally played through a thing more than once in rapid succession, because I had just played it. And then my boyfriend had played it. I'm like, did he not pay you? And he was like, no. I'm like, go talk to him. And he didn't pay him. And I'm like, I got like 20 rupees for that job. And he's like, no, you didn't. I'm like, I totally did. So then we booted up a third one with the name Link just to prove it. And I'm like, oh my God, it's because of your name. So, yeah. Yeah.
Conspiracy theory.
I've got all the little strings on my wall. That's basically how I write. I've got like the strings on my wall. And it's just like, okay, guys, wait.
Well,
it's Pepe Sylvia. Pepe Sylvia doesn't exist. Pepe Sylvia.
Carol.
I'm gonna pull a Captain America here, and I don't understand that reference.
Sorry, it's
Always Sunny.
Always Sunny reference.
Oh, okay. I've never watched that.
It's such a good show. But projects coming up that you got going on? Your stream?
Yeah, I'll definitely put. There's a link to my Twitch stream, and it's Star Pop Productions. And then my books are all on Amazon as well. If you're interested in reading the things that come out of my brain. And I have a Patreon that you can check out where I post. I'm currently posting a fantasy western, so it's kind of like D&D but with cowboys. And that updates weekly, and that's patreon.com/raggedy author.
Cool.
Yeah, and also I want to promote you because I know a lot of people. It's almost like it's writing season basically.
Oh my God!
Also offer editing services as well.
I do. I would be honored to read your work and help you make it sparkle. We'll put a link to my Fiverr, I guess, too. If you wanted to hire me that way, it's the easiest way.
Yeah.
We'll stick all the links down in there. She's got a lot going on.
I do a lot. I don't sleep.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Sleep is for the weak.
I really like sleep, though. I just don't, because insomnia is, fun.
Yeah.
So.
Plus, that's when all the best ideas happen.
Yeah.
That and in the shower.
Always, because you're all calm and relaxing. You're not thinking.
Exactly.
You turn your brain off, and your brain's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I had this crazy idea."
Is that where the ThunderNerds came from? You guys like separately? We're like.
You know what? Dustin approached me. You'll have to ask him, Dustin. When did you get the idea to do the podcast?
Yeah, it's just simply, wanting to do geek stuff. I'm like, that Bo guy. First of all, I had been wanting to do a podcast for a while, and everyone I asked was just like, yeah, we should totally do that, and then never did. And then I'm like, I was nerd flirting with Bo on on Twitter. We kept we were nerd flirting, talking about nerd stuff, and it's just like, we got a lot in common. And I was like, I like his style. And then I'm like, you know what? And then it totally hit me. I was just like, he likes He-Man, I like He-Man, I like Thundercats, and he likes Thundercats. I'm like, oh man, we should totally do like this. And I just threw it out there, and I messaged him, and he's just like, dude, I like it. And then it just took off from there. And one of the other things was we wanted to keep it positive, and that was one of the big things we agreed upon from the get-go, and that's how it came to be.
Well, I super appreciate the positivity, and thank you guys so much for inviting me. This was awesome.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Thanks for coming on.
Anytime. I would love to do it again. That's for sure.
Well, if you want to follow us, Twitter links below. Follow us on our social media, all that good stuff. We're all on everything. We probably have we probably have a MySpace page.
Yes, we totally should. If we don't, I'm gonna go create one.
Just do it. We'll start up a band or something.
I 100% still have a MySpace page. Can I log into it? I don't know, but I know that I still have a MySpace page.
I still have a MySpace page, and I can log into it.
I haven't tried in years, so now I kind of want to go through. I do not have a live journal. That was never my thing.
I never did one either.
Well, we're pretty much everywhere. Just links are below. Links for Kai below too, and yeah, I think that's it.
All right. You guys have been great. I've been Dustin.
I've been Bo.
Have a good one.
I've been Kai. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Later, guys.
Geek-Men!
All right. Welcome to a special segment of Geek-Men and the Masters of the Thunderverse. ThunderNerds. I'm Dustin.
And you're drunk.
Yes.
And I'm Bo.
And today we have a special guest, Mark Darden, and this is very special. He's a former soldier, former game producer, and Time Magazine's 2003 Person of the Year. Welcome, Mark.
All right, thank you.
I had to share that. When I saw that as your little intro to your Kickstarter explanation, I laughed. I was like, that is great. I love it. So you are actually a comic book creator and writer of Guano Guy. So tell us a little bit about Guano Guy. Like, what got you started in that idea? Like, what's sort of the inspiration behind that, if you don't mind?
Yeah, I really liked sitcoms as a kid and comic books. So I really wanted to try to put the two of those together and do something that would be fun. At first, I was trying to write something dark, like a lot of the creators that came before me that I was really inspired by, but I realized that dark just wasn't my thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I started doing much more spoofs and comedy and trying to just make a fun, lighthearted comic.
Is there a darker version of Guano Guy floating around somewhere in your notes? Is there like a Frank Miller version?
There was a comic that really was the comic I was planning to make, that Guano Guy is kind of supposed to lead me into, and that comic was originally very dark and transformed into something much more goofy.
Okay.
But that book was much bigger and more complicated to get going, and this one I really had these little short stories that were fun and silly that I could get started with, and then Guano Guy just kind of kept building into something more than I had originally thought it was going to be.
That's interesting. I love it.
Yeah, a lot of times those tiny ideas just keep snowballing, and the jokes build upon themselves and then become like inside jokes that they just keep steamrolling through.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. When I originally had him lose a bunch of sidekicks, I've got stories that'll come in the new issue, and I didn't originally intend for the sidekicks to get together and become their own thing. So, yeah, stuff definitely builds on itself. It's very true.
So you make it sound like his sidekicks are like a bunch of ex-girlfriends, like he's just built up a whole slew of them.
Pretty cool, yeah. Yeah, that's
It's pretty good.
Yeah. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, they're definitely sidekicks scorned.
Oh man! Well,
so you're up to issue 5?
This will be the 5th issue. Yeah,
okay.
In my crazy numbering, it'll be issue 2.5. But yeah, it's the 5th issue.
All right.
Love the numbering, by the way. It cracks me up.
Thank you.
Also, with the description, what initially, like, beyond the description, what sort of sold me on this was your description of Guano Guy is Seinfeld with superpowers. And just the idea of a Seinfeld-like character with superpowers, just sort of, the idea just sounds immensely hilarious.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought it was that elevator pitch idea where if you've got 5
Yeah.
words, 1 line. That was the best I felt was the closest, best description.
Yeah, and for anyone that follows you on Instagram and Twitter, you've been leading up to your Kickstarter, which by the time this recording is released will be tomorrow, or the 15th, August 15th. You've been releasing different pages from your comic, and one of the ones that stood out to me that really made me laugh out loud was how he forgot to get dressed in between panels.
Oh.
I thought that was really spectacular. I think that's great.
Thank you. Yeah, I came up with that one, 2 or 3 others after going to a writer's panel at MegaCon. Literally just sitting in the audience, just listening to them talk about comic books, and was like, oh, funny idea, and started writing.
Mm-hmm.
And something else they would say just kind of would click, and yeah, it was good for me because I kept coming up with good ideas from it.
Yeah, draw inspiration from everywhere.
Yeah.
Now I gotta ask, for people like me who recently just learned of the property, well, this new Kickstarter, is there a nice little branch where people can jump in and pick up like all the rest of the issues?
Oh yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, good. Good.
It'll be broken down for the people that have already gone to the conventions and gotten the older stuff, can just get that new book. But I definitely will have a package with all the books and
play a little catch up, because this stuff looks amazing. Like one of these panels is hilarious just because he's arguing with another superhero about who's going to save the day.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's a funny premise.
Yeah, right. We don't have enough crime to go around here.
Yeah. But, is there anything else you'd like to tell potential backers? Anything else you'd like to?
Yeah, I mean, it's my first Kickstarter. Really just hoping to get the printing costs covered, and anything extra that's left over is going to go into feeding hungry artists so they can help me make more books.
Yeah, I'll say that. The artwork, all the artists you've picked up. I mean, I'm just looking at the list and all the examples and stuff. It's fantastic artwork.
Yeah, I've gotten fortunate to just connect with a lot of really good artists and finding people where I see it and think that's funny and that'll fit the book well. Mm-hmm. And just been meeting a lot of awesome people. I mean, one guy, Alexander Unlin, who's doing about 20 pages in the new one, is a guy I just connected with via Instagram, who's over in Sweden and was doing a book that I thought was funny, and he agreed to come on and start doing mine. And I just think it's awesome because I never could have conceived when I was growing up in my town, in my little town in Tallahassee, that one day, hey, I'll just reach across the world and connect with a fellow comic lover and make a comic together.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it worked out for you, because this really does look like a fun, nice little comic. And like you said, these are nice little quick reads, Like you can't even argue with that.
Somebody's got a break, hop in and read a couple of short stories real quick and go back to whatever they were doing.
Yeah, you've essentially made a little televised serial into a comic, and I like it. Wish you the best, sir. This is gonna be fun. I hope you hit it.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, and I hope I can keep growing an audience for it. And I mean, my fondest dream would be that one day this serialized comic turns into a cartoon. I'd love to see it.
Oh yeah, I can totally see that. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun, but I got to get myself a good audience going. Yeah. Enough support behind it. Yeah,
it's a slow burn to build that audience, but yeah, do whatever you can, retweets and everything that you can to help. Is appreciated to anyone that's listening. So.
Oh yeah. You guys should definitely check this out. It's that's the talent, the commitment, everything's here. You don't have to worry about a thing. You can tell just the quality's there. It just need your help. It's up to you guys. So if you're listening, get up there and check it out.
Yeah, I've definitely found having gone to conventions and doing store signings, every person I meet, every person that takes an interest, especially other creators, just helping spread the word, helping share ideas. The art community for comic books is very, very communal. People look out for each other a lot and help each other, and it's been awesome to see.
Yeah.
Plus, there's like a very small, at least I've noticed, there's not a lot of sort of dysfunctional comedic superheroes. I mean, that's kind of a small genre. There's not enough. I mean, you got like Mystery Man and Flaming Carrot and the Tick. You could maybe count Condor Man from Disney, but like that's like all I can ever think of, and that's been like the last 20, 30 years. It's like I don't know why more people haven't thought to go comedic with it.
Yeah, there aren't two that are dysfunctional. And meanwhile, I mean, Guano Guy, he's got like the pieces that he could be successful.
Yeah, that's the thing. He looks like a fully fledged. It's not like even a goofy. Like when people see the artwork and they go to look at it, he doesn't look like a goofy mismatched like blank man like figure. Like he looks awesome. He's just
like a fully capable hero.
Yeah, he looks fully capable. He looks amazing. Like I would love to have a little action figure of this guy.
Yeah, I really felt comedically it's way funnier that he looks capable of winning. It looks possible. He's not just losing because he sucks. I mean, he could pull this off.
Yeah. He looks like a more prepared Kick-Ass.
Oh, yes, yeah. That's a good way to describe him. He really does look like that.
A little less dedicated, though.
Yeah.
Way more
Kick-Ass
dedicated.
took quite the beatings, and Guano Guy is not down for that.
Right. Yeah, wouldn't want to damage the face or anything like that.
No, oh, goodness, no. That's the moneymaker.
Right. Do you find that like you hear a specific voice? Like I heard your voice just change a little bit there. Is that the voice that you hear when you're writing his parts?
Yeah, that's all. I particularly hear it because I'll do the lines in character voice when I'll write them and then speak them. And I started doing that because my natural writing style is sarcastic, and if I don't do something to differentiate the characters, they will all be sarcastic jerks. And it's not as funny if they all do it. Plus, then characters blend together. So I established a voice for him. Mr. Marvelous Man got a very childish, almost like a 5-year-old Mike Tyson voice. So that completely differentiated like how he speaks.
Like a Mike Tyson with the that's awesome.
Yeah. So next time you read the comic, picture that kind of voice. It changes.
Oh yeah, that's great. Oh man, I can imagine like doing the voices and reading it that way. I always pictured something else, but you'll like when after watching things like the Tick cartoon, and then you would read a comic, you hear that guy's voice, or watching the 90s X-Men cartoon, you hear the Wolverine voice, and then ever since then you read comics in that dude's voice as well, when you're reading Wolverine's parts. So it's just like, you develop a voice, you hear a voice, and then that sticks, and it just makes the character and everything else flow and sound better. It's cool that you did that. Oh, that's awesome.
I did find it funny that with the voices I made, almost half the characters ended up with some kind of lisp or like minor speech impediment.
Well, they're all misfits. Sometimes that's just
quirky.
That's an immediate way to kill any sort of threatening vibe they would have too.
Just like Samuel L. Jackson in Kingsman. Like here's this gangster, but then all of a sudden he talks with a lisp, but it's just like, wait, what? Where's the Samuel L. Jackson like killing snakes on a plane? It's just like, this is so not what I was expecting.
No, yeah. He did a great job in that movie of transitioning from his regular badass stuff.
Yeah.
Him being squeamish of blood.
Yeah.
I can't stand the butt.
Yeah.
And this guy's going to kill like billions of people on the planet.
That's
Well,
awesome.
is this a standard 30-day?
The Kickstarter, I'm either going to run it 21 or 22 or 29 days. I'm not sure which of the two.
Okay.
I'm starting on a Wednesday. I'm starting Tuesday night and ending on a Wednesday night. I'll be doing several store signings in Florida. In fact, to kick it off on the 15th, I'm going to be in Borderlands in Jacksonville. And then on Saturday, I'm going to be at Crumbs World in Orlando. And then I'm doing Fallout comic books in Tallahassee the next Wednesday. So every Wednesday, I'm planning to do a store signing to hand out flyers and promote.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you hopping on here and talking about Guano Guy. We're super excited about this Kickstarter. And,
yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, just can't support you enough. Hope all the best for you.
I love getting the chance to talk about comics, and I certainly never mind having the opportunity to talk about mine. Hope a few more people give it a look.
Absolutely. All right. Well, hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. I've been Dustin.
I've been both.
Have a week.
Thanks again for having me, guys. Appreciate it a lot.
Boom.